I work the night shift at a small convenience store on the edge of town. The lights are on, the fridges buzz, and the smell of burnt coffee never really fades. After 10 p.m., the world outside goes quiet. The only people who walk in are truckers, late workers, or strangers who'd rather stay unseen. That's how I noticed him. He came almost every night, always between 11:45 and midnight. A silver sedan, perfectly washed, parked under the flickering streetlight. He bought the same thing, bottled water, gum, sometimes peanuts, and always paid with exact change. "Good evening," he'd say, smiling politely. His voice was calm and careful, like every word was measured before leaving his mouth. Layla, my coworker, liked him. Said he was sweet, respectful. And to be fair, he was. He was too polite, too composed. The kind of person who looked normal in a way that made you uneasy. I noticed how still his eyes were, how he didn't blink much. And once, when he thought I wasn't looking, he glanced at the camera and smiled. Just a small, gentle smile, like he knew what was he doing. One night, it was raining outside. It was pouring heavily. He came in hair dry, shoes spotless. Layla was making coffee. He saw her and started talking to her. "Do you live nearby? You work every night? Don't you ever get scared this late?" Layla laughed nervously. I felt my stomach twist. His questions weren't curious. They were a bit too off. Like he wanted to know everything about Layla, her shift, her timing. When he left, he gave her a napkin with an address on it. He'd said, "You'll like its quiet place." The next day, she told me she might actually go. I told her not to. She said I was being paranoid and how he is the sweetest man. That night, I went through the security footage again. He left at his usual time. The camera caught the footage of his back seat. For a minute, I saw something. A pale face in the dark. I only saw her for fractions of a second. I froze, rewound, and stopped again. There it was. A woman, unmoving. She looked like she was dead. My hands went cold. I grabbed my phone and called Layla. No answer. She wasn't on shift. She was on a date. I didn't think, I just drove. The place was a roadside restaurant. The kind that smells like old grease and damp carpet. Only 2 other cars in the lot. The rain had slowed down a bit. Through the window, I saw them sitting in a corner booth. He was leaning forward, talking low. She smiled, but her hands trembled around her cup. She didn't look happy. She looked trapped in politeness. After a few minutes, he stood up and said something to her. She nodded weakly. He walked outside to his car. I followed, keeping low behind another vehicle. The lot was dim, just one flickering bulb near the dumpster. He opened the trunk, then the back door. That's when I saw her. A woman inside, wrists bound with tape, eyes glassy and still. He lifted a blanket and tucked it over her like she was nothing. The air left my chest. My hands started to shake. I looked toward the restaurant. Layla was walking out, confused. She called his name. He turned slowly. The smile came back. Calm, polite, practiced. She asked something. He stepped closer. She didn't see his hand reaching for her wrist. I yelled her name and ran. He spun, eyes wide, for the first time. I grabbed a metal rod from beside the dumpster and swung. It hit his arm with a crack noise. He stumbled, hissed something under his breath, and tried to pull a knife from his jacket. I swung again, harder this time. It hit him in chest. He fell. The knife skidded across the wet ground. Layla screamed, backing away. I shouted for her to call the police, but her hand shook so much she dropped the phone. I grabbed it and dialed, breathing heavily. My voice cracked as I told police everything. The car, the trunk, the woman. He tried to crawl, mumbling something like, "You shouldn't have seen." I kicked the door shut on his arm, and he screamed. Sirens began wailing in the distance. The sound echoed against the empty road like a warning. By the time the police arrived, he wasn't smiling anymore. They found 2 more women inside the car, alive but silent. One of them whispered, "Please," before collapsing into the officer's arms. They found fake IDs, burner phones, maps with circles drawn around small towns. Ours included. Layla sat on the bench, crying. Her hands were red from clutching herself too tight. I sat beside her, still shaking, the metal rod lying on the wet concrete between us. She whispered, "He looked so kind." I didn't know what to say. The rain started again, soft and cold, washing the blood into the cracks of the pavement. The cops took him away. Even in handcuffs, he kept smiling like it was all misunderstanding. Everything went quiet after that. Layla's phone buzzed beside her. Unknown number. I picked it up. It was one of the officers. They'd checked his GPS. It had dozens of locations marked. All late-night stores, all women working the night shift. Layla quit the next week. Couldn't stand the thought of working in store, the smell of coffee, the memory of that car. She left while I stayed. Maybe because I didn't know how to stop thinking about it. Maybe because I wanted to make sure nothing like that happened again. The nights feel heavier now. Every time a customer walks in after midnight and smiles too politely, it immediately reminds me of him. Sometimes when I wipe the counter, I swear I see his reflection in the glass door. Neat hair, calm eyes, that same practiced smile. One night while cleaning, I found something under the register. The napkin he'd given Layla. The address written in neat, even handwriting. I stared at it for a long time before tearing it apart. Since then, I keep the security monitor on, even when the manager says not to. I watch every car that parks under the streetlight. Sometimes when customers comes with calm, steady, polite voice saying, "Good evening," I don't answer anymore. I just look toward them and remind myself, not everyone who smiles is safe. This happened about a month ago. I work as a food delivery driver, mostly night shifts because there's less traffic and better tips. I've done hundreds of deliveries, seen strange customers, creepy houses, even drunks trying to hug me at the door. But nothing like that night. It was around 11:40 p.m. when an order popped up on my phone. The restaurant was one I recognized, but the drop-off address wasn't. Maple Court Apartments. I almost declined. That side of town was half abandoned and always felt wrong at night. But the customer had tipped well, so I accepted. The drive there was silent. No cars, no people, just long, empty streets. When I reached Maple Court, I thought my GPS was broken. The building looked abandoned. Cracked bricks, boarded windows, and vines crawling up the walls. A single light in the lobby flickered weakly. The front door was unlocked. Inside smelled of dust and old water. The floor creaked with every step. I checked the delivery note again. "Leave it by the door. Don't knock. Don't call. Wait 5 minutes before leaving weird," but not the strangest request I've had. The order was for room 3B. The elevator was dead, so I took the stairs. The deeper I went, the colder it got. Unnaturally cold, like walking into a freezer. When I reached the 3rd floor, I noticed the smell. Something rotten, like spoiled meat. The lights buzzed continuously on and off. I walked slowly until I saw it. 3B, the door was slightly open. I froze. Maybe someone was waiting for me? I cleared my throat and said quietly, "Delivery for 3B." No answer. I crouched down, placed the bag near the door, and turned to leave. That's when I heard it. Breathing. Faint, uneven, coming from inside. Then a slow dragging sound, like someone shuffling their feet. I whispered again, "Hello?" The breathing stopped. The silence that followed was heavy, pressing against my ears. I started walking backward. Then, right in front of me, the bag slid across the floor, pulled inside by something I couldn't see. The door creaked wider, and a pale hand, grayish, grabbed the edge of door. I didn't wait. I bolted down the stairs so fast I nearly fell. Outside, I caught my breath, shaking. My delivery app still said, "In progress." I tapped complete delivery, but the button wouldn't work. My phone froze, screen flickering. When it restarted, the order was gone. No record, no payment. It was like it never existed. I called the restaurant. The manager checked the system and told me there'd been no order to that address. I hung up, confused and a little scared, thinking maybe I'd fallen for some scam. But how would a scammer unlock the building? The next morning, I went back to check. I don't know why, I just needed to see it in daylight. The whole place was boarded up, door chained shut. A man sweeping outside looked at me strangely when I asked. "That place?" he said. "It's been closed for years." Fire on the 3rd floor. Killed a tenant in 3B. They never reopened. I just stood there, staring at the building. The windows were blackened, melted around the edges. A week later, I started getting new order notifications, always around midnight. Same name, same address. I'd decline them, but the app would freeze for a few seconds before the request disappeared. It kept happening every few nights until I deleted the app completely. That should have been the end. But 3 nights ago, someone knocked on my apartment door at 2:30 a.m. 3 slow, heavy knocks. I opened it half asleep, expecting maybe a neighbor. Nobody was there, just a takeout bag on the floor. My name was written on it in shaky letters. It was the same meal I'd delivered that night. Same restaurant. Same receipt. Except the receipt paper was soaked, like it had been burned and then soaked again. I threw it away and didn't sleep till sunrise. I haven't gone near Maple Court since. I still deliver food, but I never accept orders from that side of town. If one ever pops up on your phone, Maple Court Apartments, room 3B, don't take it.